There comes a moment in life when everything that once distracted you begins to feel hollow. The noise of the world, the temptations pulling at your every step, the chase for instant gratification, it all begins to rot from the inside out, and something deeper stirs within you. A quiet voice, almost imperceptible, begins to whisper the truth you've always known, but never fully heard, that discipline, not desire, is the path to something greater, that mastery is not found in the fire of momentary passion, but in the cold repetition of 1,000 ordinary mornings, that the real self, the one buried under layers of comfort, fear, and habit, can only be uncovered through the sacred practice of restraint. Before we begin, if you're watching this and you're ready to break through the distractions, the weakness, the chaos that modern life throws at you, then pause for a second. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment below, sharing what you're working to master in your own life. And most importantly, click the link in the pinned comment. It will lead you to a powerful opportunity, a program that has helped over 100,000 people transform their bodies, their minds, and their entire way of life. This is your moment to decide. This is your moment to commit. In the teachings of Zen, there is no glorification of motivation. There is no need to wait for inspiration or to be in the mood. Zen monks wake up before dawn, not because they want to, but because the path demands it. They sweep the temple floor, not because it is exciting, but because each sweep is an act of devotion. They sit in silence, not for comfort, but to confront the raging mind that never wants to be still. The Zen path is a direct confrontation with the self, with the ego, with desire, and it is in that confrontation that true power begins to grow. Desire is noisy. It screams for attention. It convinces you that you must have everything now, the food, the rest, the praise, the distraction. It seduces you with the illusion that happiness can be consumed, that fulfillment is just one more indulgence away. But discipline is quiet. It does not seduce. It does not shout. It waits. It invites. It shows itself only to those willing to look past the surface. And once seen, it changes you. Discipline becomes not a burden, but a path, a liberation from chaos, a road that leads to the highest expression of yourself. The ancient warriors of the East understood this deeply. The samurai sharpened their swords daily, even when there was no battle. They trained their bodies and minds relentlessly, not because they expected a fight each day, but because they knew that the greatest battle is the one that happens inside. The battle against doubt, laziness, fear, and weakness. To win that battle, one must build a fortress within, and that fortress is built brick by brick through daily disciplined action. Zen teaches that mastery is not an outcome, but a posture, a way of living. It is not a medal to be earned, or a title to be claimed. It is found in how you pour your tea, how you fold your clothes, how you breathe in silence when no one is watching. Mastery is the art of doing the simple things with complete presence. And to live like that, you must destroy the illusion that desire has any value at all in guiding your actions. Desire lies. It whispers that the shortcut is good enough, that comfort is the goal, but the path to mastery is paved with discomfort. It is forged in the fire of discipline, where you do what must be done whether you feel like it or not. So what does it mean to live this way in the modern world? It means choosing focus in a world of noise. It means building routines when everyone else drifts. It means rejecting the easy path in favor of the right one. Every time you wake up early, every time you train your body, every time you work in silence while others scroll and complain, you are moving deeper into mastery. You are aligning with the ancient way. You are living with discipline over desire. And as the days pass, you begin to feel it. A sense of control, of clarity. The chaos that once ruled your mind starts to fade. The urges that once dictated your actions lose their power. You become someone else, not because the world changed, but because you did, because you chose to live with intention. because you stopped being a slave to your impulses and started becoming the master of your mind. That is the Zen path. It is not glamorous. It is not loud. But it is powerful beyond measure. And it is open to anyone willing to walk it. The choice is yours. Will you continue to chase desire, or will you rise above it? If this message resonates with you, do not keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel for more paths of wisdom. Leave a like to support this movement. Comment your thoughts and reflections, because your voice matters here. And most of all, click the link in the pinned comment. That is where the real change begins. With action, with commitment, with discipline. The modern world does not reward discipline openly. It worships spectacle. It elevates those who dazzle with quick results, viral success, and the illusion of overnight transformation. But real mastery, true transformation, is quiet. It happens in the shadows. It happens when no one is watching. While others look for hacks and shortcuts, the disciplined individual lays another stone on the path, not seeking applause, only alignment with something greater than themselves. And that's the essence of the Zen approach. There is no audience. The performance is not for others. It is for the soul. The real reward is not external, but internal, the evolution of character. When you choose discipline over desire, you begin to separate yourself from the average. Not in a prideful way, but in a sacred one. Because you've made a commitment to your higher self, you begin to say no to what weakens you, and yes to what strengthens you. You begin to endure discomfort, not as punishment, but as purification. You willingly embrace the silence of self-denial to hear the deeper truths that chaos drowns out. This is where mental strength is forged, not in noise, not in hype, but in the stillness of deliberate action. Discipline trains the mind to operate with precision, just like a swordsmith strikes iron again and again to create a blade capable of cutting through anything. The disciplined person strikes their own weaknesses daily, not with violence, but with awareness. Each repetition, each difficult decision, each confrontation with laziness becomes a sharpening blow, and eventually, the mind becomes like the sword, sharp, clear, and ready. In Zen, this readiness is not about combat, it's about presence. The warrior is not obsessed with war. The warrior is obsessed with preparation, with posture, with being fully alive in each moment, so that no matter what life throws at them, they do not flinch, they do not panic, they simply respond. This kind of readiness comes only from a deep reservoir of discipline, a deep well that is filled each time you choose what is hard but true over what is easy and hollow. It is important to understand that desire will always return. You cannot eliminate it entirely, but you can dominate it. You can condition your mind to see desire not as a command to obey, but as a signal to investigate. Why do I crave this? What pain am I avoiding? What emptiness am I trying to fill? Discipline gives you the courage to pause and look within, rather than reaching outside for a distraction. And it is in that pause that transformation begins. Let's take a deeper look at pain, because it is often the gateway to discipline. In the Zen tradition, suffering is not seen as something to be avoided, but as something to be understood. It is through suffering that the illusion of control is shattered. Through discomfort, you learn humility. You learn endurance. You begin to welcome the sting of effort as a companion, not an enemy. When the body aches in training, when the mind rebels during meditation, when your emotions surge against your commitments, that is when the real work begins. That is the forge. That is the purification. The ancient masters would often say, you will learn more from a single hour of hardship than from a year of comfort, and you feel that truth when you walk this path. One difficult morning of discipline teaches you more than 100 easy ones. Why? Because it is in difficulty that you confront yourself. It is in struggle that your false identities begin to crack. And underneath the masks, the excuses, the justifications, you find something real, something unshakable, the self that endures. There will be days when everything inside you begs for comfort, when the thought of taking the harder road feels unbearable. That is exactly when you must move forward. That is the training. That is the edge between who you are and who you could become. Every time you resist the pull of desire, you weaken its grip. And every time you choose discipline, you strengthen the part of you that is infinite. You must remember this: the mind is always shaping itself. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. When you sleep, and instead of rising early to train, that action shapes you. When you eat out of boredom rather than hunger, that action shapes you. When you avoid difficult conversations or tasks, that avoidance shapes you. And on the flip side, when you do the hard thing, the thing you know must be done, even though it's unpleasant, that also shapes you. It builds you. Slowly, silently, with every repetition, you become someone different. You don't need to announce it. You don't need validation. Your actions will speak louder than anything you say. In the end, discipline does not seek recognition, because the disciplined man is not concerned with image. He is concerned with truth, and truth does not need an audience. You might wonder, where do I begin? The answer is simple. Begin now, with what you have. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a grand plan. You need intention. You need commitment. You need to pick something, just one thing, and do it consistently, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. That's where the shift begins. Let the morning become your dojo. Let your training be sacred. Whether it is a workout, a meditation, a cold shower, writing, prayer, anything, if you approach it with discipline, it will change you. And the more you do it, the more it changes not only what you do, but who you are. You become dependable, focused, grounded, and eventually unstoppable. This is the Zen path. It is not about becoming more. It is about becoming less distracted, less reactive, less consumed by impulse. And in that subtraction, you find something extraordinary. You find clarity. You find purpose. You find the silent strength that has been waiting inside you all along. Now, if this message continues to resonate with you, it's not by accident. You're being called to something higher. So take the next step. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like the video to help spread this message. And drop a comment below, sharing what form of discipline you're building right now. And above all, click the link in the pinned comment. That program is not just a product, it's a path. It's the same path walked by those who refuse to settle. It's your time now. Don't just think about change. Live it. Choose discipline. Choose mastery. There is a moment in every disciplined journey when you no longer question whether or not you'll follow through. You simply do. The struggle between desire and duty begins to fade. What once felt like a daily war becomes something smoother, something deeper. The body moves before the mind resists. The decision is already made before the temptation even arises. And that is when you begin to understand what true freedom feels like. Not the freedom to indulge in every passing want, but the freedom from being controlled by them. In the early days, discipline feels like confinement, like something heavy, something that restricts your freedom. But over time, as your actions align with purpose, you realize that discipline doesn't confine you, it refines you. It burns away the excess, the noise, the weakness, and in the ashes of that sacrifice, something unshakable is born, a sense of self that no circumstance can touch, a clarity that no failure can shake, a strength that no praise or insult can inflate or destroy. This is why Zen monks smile in silence, why warriors walk calmly into uncertainty. They are not chasing peace, they are the peace. They have earned it through the fire of practice, through years of facing discomfort willingly, through the daily choice to do what must be done, without reward, without recognition. That is the level of character that only discipline can shape. And while the modern world races for more speed, more comfort, more dopamine, you move differently. You walk slowly, you breathe deeply, you remain present, and because of that, you see what others miss. You begin to notice how trapped people are in their own desires, how endlessly they chase and consume, hoping for something that will finally feel like enough. But there is no end to desire. It multiplies, it consumes, it creates dependency and restlessness. And when you've trained yourself to live without constantly feeding it, you begin to taste real liberation. This liberation is not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't post itself for likes. It is quiet, like a mountain, like a forest at dawn, but it's powerful. And it gives you something most people never experience: ownership of yourself. In this space, your work becomes sacred, not because it's perfect, but because it's intentional. Your relationships deepen, not because you say more, but because you listen more. You no longer seek stimulation from every screen or sound. You find contentment in stillness. And when challenges come, as they always do, you face them head, not with panic, not with whining, but with poise, with presence, because you have trained for this. You didn't build discipline just for discipline's sake. You built it to prepare for storms. The Zen way teaches that storms will come, loss will come, fear will come. But if you have trained your mind, if you have built your core on discipline, you will not crumble. You will stand, you will adapt, and in that storm, others will look to you as a source of calm. Because you did the work when no one else was watching. There is something sacred about a man or woman who chooses the hard way, not for the applause, but because they know it is the way. A person who wakes early when they could sleep, who trains when no one is forcing them, who keeps their word when no one would notice if they didn't. That kind of person becomes rare, and in a world drowning in convenience and chaos, rarity becomes value. The Zen path is not about withdrawal from the world, but about engagement with it on your terms. It's about walking through life awake, rather than being dragged through it by every emotion, every craving, every fear. And the price for this kind of awakening is not paid in motivation or moments of hype. It's paid in repetition, in rituals, in restraint. And that price, though steep, is worth every drop of sweat. And you'll know it's working when the noise no longer excites you, when you feel more drawn to a quiet morning of practice than to a night of mindless pleasure, when you find joy in the process, in the effort itself, not just in the result. That's when you've shifted. That's when you've crossed from discipline as a burden to discipline as a lifestyle. Let others chase the high. Let them burn out, chasing spark after spark. You are building a fire that never goes out, a steady flame, not dependent on fuel from the outside, a fire that sustains itself. That fire is forged in your choices, in your willingness to say no to yourself when it matters most, to show up when you'd rather quit, to build a structure inside your life that supports greatness. Even when you don't feel great, and make no mistake, there will be setbacks. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. It means returning to your path after you fall, after you drift. The difference between those who master their lives and those who don't is not that they never fail, it's that they don't stay fallen. They rise again and again, with humility, with resolve. And every time they rise, they become more unshakable. You are not meant to be ruled by desire. You are not meant to be a leaf blown by the winds of emotion. You are meant to be rooted, disciplined, focused. This is your nature to bear it, perhaps, under layers of comfort and culture, but it is there, waiting, and it's your responsibility to uncover it. So do not wait for the perfect time. Do not wait for clarity or motivation. Begin where you are. Begin now. Carve your discipline from the stone of daily life. Build your focus in the fire of routine, and let every action be a declaration. I will not be ruled by comfort. I will not be a servant to desire. I will rise.